Next, our continuing look at the impact of 9/11 a decade later. Tonight, we focus on how it's affected air travel. NewsHour correspondent Tom Bearden reports.
This is where the greatest number of Americans have been affected in the post-9/11 world, the nation's commercial airports. Passengers have been walking through metal detectors and had their carry-on bags x-rayed since the late 60s. But aviation security changed dramatically after September 2001.
Airport checkpoint screenings have been significantly tightened since 2001, and security personnel are more thoroughly trained to detect weapons or explosives. In addition to standard metal detectors, many U.S. airports now employ full-body scanning machines, in which passengers are essentially x-rayed to check for potential hidden weapons or explosives on their person. Initially, early body scanners provoked quite a bit of controversy because the images produced by the machines were deemed graphic and intrusive. Many considered this as an invasion of personal privacy. Newer body scanners have since been introduced which do not produce an image, but rather alert TSA screeners of areas on the body where an unknown item or substance may be hidden. A TSA security screener then inspects the area manually.
Some have dubbed it the freedom grope. Others call it gate rape. But whatever the snarky nickname, there is no denying that American passengers are in a huff over the new TSA pat-down procedure. For a nation long weary of shoe removal and liquid limits, full-body touching and revealing body scans have been a tough sell. But the TSA insists they are vital for ever-shifting security demands.
On September 11th, some hijackers lacked proper ID, yet they were allowed to board. After 9/11, all passengers 18 years or older must now have...
TSA officials are using a new method known as screening passengers by observation technique known as SPOT. The idea is to use facial expression, body language, and appearance rather than racial profiling to determine whether a passenger fears detection or is concealing something. TSA spotters walk the line and start random conversations with passengers to get responses. The officers have about 30 seconds to make an assessment whether the person needs. TSA officials are using a new method known as screening passengers by observation technique known as SPOT. The idea is to use facial expression, body language, and appearance rather than racial profiling to determine whether a passenger fears detection or is concealing something. TSA spotters walk the line and start random conversations with passengers to get responses. The officers have about 30 seconds to make an assessment whether the person needs to be pulled out of the line and given more rigorous screening. When going through TSA checkpoints, the person will need to remove their shoes, jackets, and other outerwear. This is due to past incidents such as the underwear bomber and the shoe bomber hiding their explosives on them.
While in line to get checked and screened, you may be selected at random to do an enhanced pat-down. The pat-downs are supposed to be modified for children under 12 and are conducted by the same gender officers. It is designed to be thorough in order to detect any potential threats and keep the traveling public safe. Many passengers have complained about these checks because the pat-downs include checks of the breasts and the genitals.
And then there is the question of radiation. The government says the scanners are safe. Pilots who have to pass through them on a daily basis aren't so sure, including the biggest hero pilot around, Captain Sully himself.
I think it's unnecessary for the flight crews to go through them first, and second, I think it poses some radiation risk.
But opting out of the scanners only causes more problems now that enhanced pat-down techniques give agents the right to feel inside the leg, the front of a woman's bra, and more.
It's a catch-22, I think, on both parts of it, that you're going to be searched either way and you're going to be invaded either way.
Today on Capitol Hill, the TSA's chief acknowledged the new pat-downs are invasive, but he said they're necessary because the government has been able to smuggle items through normal security in its own tests more than they'd like to admit.
With all the controversy about the checkpoints and the passengers feeling that their rights to privacy are being taken advantage of, this is the best way to ensure that another tragic incident like 9/11 won't occur again. The government and TSA are still working out some flaws and making it truly the safest means of travel.